Thank you everybody for coming and happy Valentine's Day. Today I'm gonna concentrate on my long-term project called Svetlana, and I will show you a wide selection of this project and some videos that I made. If anybody have questions, feel free to ask me after the speech. And yeah, this project became a significant part of my life, and it's hardly to say my project, yet I would like to say I will tell you about my continuing journey. So I will begin with a short story from the Svetlana. You can see this person. She's a Julia. Julia was unusual for me from the moment we met. And our first meeting, she greeted and hugged me and took me inside and the house. And she told me a long story about her relationship with a guy in this village. It was a dramatic story, how she felt bad because she ignored her and so on. I didn't know who she was, like the person with special needs or volunteer. So anyway, I supported her and gave some recommendations. And after our conversation, I went to the bakery to greet other residents. And after some time, Julia ran to me with wide-eyed and told me a really horrible thing about her relationship. She told me that her boyfriend wanted to kill her. I was so confused and I didn't know what I could do. It was only my 5 trips to the village. And I still don't know a lot of people there. I went to one of the volunteers and told her about the Julia. And in the end, I found out that Julia came up with this relationship in her imagination, but it doesn't exist in real life. So she has always been romantic or dramatic person, and it all depends on state of mind. She was always waiting for something, and we walked together sometimes around the village and around this cartoon. And she often wore really bright coats, and she suggested to shoot her portraits inside the car. And I was telling this story because it illustrates my communication with people and my approach. I try to listen the ideas of people and feelings of people and to observe them in real life. And this is my favorite way to in communication and cognition of each other is born the meaning and understanding. To see people that you take pictures as subjects which have voice and deeper in a piece of peace inside and their own desires. So all this I try to break hierarchical relations between photographer and model, so and take my time. I often use in my work, so I called ethical tools. And first I see the subject of my project as subject. It's like your equal colleagues or as your team. So it means for me that you respect your subjects and emphasize with them because you're a guest in their life and they trust you and believe you and open up to you. And secondly, It means collaborations with people to create something. And thirdly, other element of this approach is dive deeper into the topic, try to involve in the community and the life of the community, try to understand and explore. And that's enormously important. So this picture, it was my first trip to this village. I will say you a little bit about Svetlana. This is a special social village in Leningrad region. It's close to St. Petersburg. This village is a part of the worldwide Camp Hill movement, which focuses on developing potential through community, arts, and working on the land. It was started in Aberdeen, Scotland in 1939 by Karl Koenig, an Austrian doctor and writer who had fled from the Nazis. And he was inspired by the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner, the Austrian social reformer, who started the first Waldorf school. And today there are 100 Camp Hill communities in 20 countries, but in Russia we have only one of them, which exists from 90s. So there are about 40 adult people who live in 4 large houses, and about half of the residents are people with special needs, and the other half of residents are volunteers or staffs. They live and work together in a collaboration that remind me a large family. The residents grow their own vegetables and fruits, raise cows, chickens and pigs, bake bread and make cheese and yogurt to feed themselves with some leftovers to sell. And the village is surrounded by forest and river. So Svetlana was started with financial help from the Norwegian Camp Hill movement, which was inspired by a Russian mother named Svetlana, who had a child with special needs, but she died in 1991, the year before the village was started, and the community was named in her honor. So the specificity of this village is that after some time you forgot that most people, they have a special experience of their people with special needs, and you see them as equals. The words disabled and incapable lose their force. And people don't draw a strict line between the residents there. All people learn and work freely despite on the differences. You can't find the locks on doors there, employees and so on. This is not a special institution for people with special needs. It's just they are just live different kind of people. So I will show you a teaser that I made for publication of my project.
Опять я не спаю. Помогать. Я тоже помогала, делала спорт. Оля, я тебе, наверное.
So I found out about Svetlana from my friend who worked with different charity organization, and once she invited me to go to Svetlana as a volunteer. But at the time it didn't happen. They were busy in this village, but the thoughts about this place reminded in my mind. So after 3 months, I called there and received a permission, verbal permission. And for almost 5 months, I was trying to explore this place. So this project I made almost already 3 years, and I came there often still. I came there every month and lived with them together 3 or 5 days. And I talked a lot with residents. And I sometimes worked there, like cooked a dinner for old people in the house, read books for guys, and went to the sauna with them, and I tried to find a way to visualize this place. And at first time, I just shot a lot of different things, and I used different verbal permission, different visual languages. And I remember that I spent a lot of times in the library there. I read a lot of literature about such villages and about their concept and ideology, their rituals. And only after almost 5 months, I started to shoot more consciously. So it took so much time because at first, a lot of people with special needs try to post me all the time. You can see the picture with Vika. She has a Down syndrome. And usually people see the people with special needs with pity or look of them as some bizarre animals or aliens. And many people with special needs wonder then the inner world is interesting for someone, and when they asked about their desires and about their life, I think they got used to be clones and I think intent on new people, what I experienced in the beginning of my work. So you can see Vika. She used to always post me and poke her face into the camera, and I thought she was goofing around in front of the camera. And when I raised it, she used to give me a wide smile or make funny face. And it was the same with everyone there. So it took long time, but it's important for our interaction where the camera isn't special for us. I think to distract my subject from the process of photography is important for shooting. And of course, it's individual way for everyone. So this is a Vika after 5 months or 6 months, I think. And she is too. And you can see she is different. This Vasa, he always gave me strange feelings when I tried to take a picture of him. He began to laughing all the time. It was so loud. And after some months, it changed. But he's really interesting guy. He always asks people to take magazines for him because he loves to cut people. people from magazines and create a huge collage on the table. And he asked to switch music on the phone because he wanted to listen Queen and Pink Floyd. It was really funny. You will see some short moment in the next video about this. When I was in Svetlana, we sat on the couch and listened to music together to get used to me. And this picture I made when he had a break at the work he stopped, so activity react to me. Sometimes I came in this city without any pictures because I spend a lot of time for communication and help of residents in this village, and that would be rude when other people need your help because they have not enough people and you refuse because of photographers or for the project. So that's, of course, it was strange for me. Lisa, you can see in this picture, she was a volunteer and she moved from the St. Petersburg to the village and lived there for almost 2 years. And it was interesting to me why some young people live big cities with many possibilities for living in this social village. And I think they have different reasons. Someone wants to do something useful for society or for other people, and others wants to rethink their life. Others wants to study different skills. Others wants to live in a small community because they tired from big competition in the city and from expectations from society and so on. This picture is Julia and Rahel. She's from Germany. Yep. She's from Germany and lived in Svetlana almost 1 year. And all volunteers friend of people with special needs. And some volunteers came back to a village once. And other is a part of my ethical consideration. There are things which shouldn't be violated. I mean, the boundaries of people or community. In the village happens a lot of events. They organize themselves performances or different rituals for united of community, invite different musicians from St. Petersburg. And so it's every week they have a lot of events. And I almost always was on these events. And as you see, and next time you will see, I have no pictures from there because in the village it's considered disrespectful to photograph at the moment when the process is going on. And you understand that it's a price of trust. This is something the innermost. And sometimes you should be just a person, but not a photographer. And so only one picture I have from the important event for this village. This is the birthday of Minya. You can see he was 50 years old. It was a big party with guests and friends of the village. And residents gave me verbal permission to photograph. And you will see part of the post on the video too. He is the old time of the village. He lives there almost from the foundation of the village. It's almost for 20 years. He often sits in the living room and writes his letters, where he imagines himself the prime director of the village. And he always says about how people work in the village, something about daily routines, what he does in this village. And in this village, he met Tatiana, and that's a wife now. Tatiana, she came in the village almost 1 year ago. I remember when Minya stood for one side of the village and Tatiana stood on another side of the village, and it was like a romantic movie when slowly went towards each other because they are old. And it was so cute. They constantly care about each other, called each other wife and husband, and they live together in one room now. And one day they girls sitting opposite each other at the table, and Tanya flew into the rage, and she started screaming at Mina. He took her by hand and said, "Tatiana, calm down, nothing happened, I love you." And one of the residents of the house who helps in the kitchen saw it and got amazed. Not every person, he told me, not every person in the ordinary life, in an ordinary world, is able to find words that can so quickly smooth your beloved woman. And Tatiana, she's most independent of all the people with Down syndrome in Svetlana. Tatiana saw her mother's final journey. She is able to live alone and solve even different tasks. Only she sometimes forgets people, which so many times, but with breaks. So she forgot me sometimes, and every time I introduced myself. And I treat people with respect, and I agree on the text of the interviews. I don't hide my pictures from the villagers. I take permissions for photos from old people of the project. And in the village, I stage a project display for guys. I gave a personal photo to everyone, which I photograph. When I did a photo book, you can see, about the village for exhibition on Paris Photo. And after that, I took part of books for villagers, and I left in the library, and they saw it, read it, and they were really glad. But it would be lie if I only told you the positive things, like this is an amazing place with amazing people, with amazing idea, and blah blah blah. So of course there were some unpleasant or strange situations for me, bad state of guys and conflicts. For example, I had a quite strange case with a case of stalking in the village from one guy. It was a new boy, came in the village for some months. And at the same time, I came to the village for 4 days. And he followed me everywhere. literally everywhere. He was waiting me near the toilet. He was breathing near the door of my room. And on the second day, I decided to talk with him about the persecution of a person and explain that it's not good and la la la. And eventually it turned out that he believed that the persecution of a person means friendship. And I explained to him for a long time about consent and reciprocity, that they are important elements of friendship. And that's just a fact of socialization for many people with special needs, the substitution of concepts, different concepts, and they have not communication with different people in the ordinary life in the city. And of course, guys don't go everywhere with a wide smile every day. Of course, sometimes they have a bad mood or bad states. And Julia, you can see here, I was going around the village and I just saw her in the window, and sometimes she could walk around the village and screamed loudly, or disappearing there at night. Vasya, you remember him? Vasya could usually walk around the village and scream they have a bad mood. And people with special needs, I think, often, or special experience, often showed all the emotions and don't hide them. And if they are feeling moral painful, they told you about it directly. It was impressed me. And I think that's what we're missing sometimes, because sometimes people accumulate bad feelings or situation in a one moment, threw them away. This is not good. And they taught me about this. So I just tell you about some pictures and people there. So you can see Amir. He's very kind and friendly guy. He loves Batman, and he's as a Don Juan. He has a relationship with different women in different periods in this village. This is a chapel near to village. And the residents, different residents in Svetlana are people with different religious affiliations. And you can meet a Catholic person or Buddhist. Ryan, she lives in Svetlana for 4 years. She came from Sevastopol, it's really far away from St. Petersburg. And there she visited the Center of Social Support for People with Disabilities, but could hardly feel necessary for society. And some residents said me that when she arrived in the village, she didn't seem to have her own face. And she was very sad. And she felt hopeless. But now she has friends and hobbies, and she's really funny. She's smart, and so on. And this picture is Julia and Raya, they're best friends, and they often listen music together or sing together and or dance together in their room. This is a Sergei. He has also been living in the village for a very long time, but he died recently. and he was calm and silent, and he never refuses anyone to help. He's hardworking. And like other villagers, he was living in a separate room, and he loved to draw and listening to the radio. Nobody forces him to clean up. The main thing is that he himself should feel comfortable. Yeah. And I would like to show a short movie that I made. I have a lot of videos from my phone and digital camera, and I will show you just the part of it. It's like, background of the my experience in this village.
Пока не знаю, не вспомню, с кем дружу. Потом вспомню. Сейчас скажу, с кем дружу.
He's talking about friendship.
Снимай, Маш. В принципе, я со всеми дружу. У меня, в принципе, друзья есть, друзья есть. Есть. Дима Пушкин, я друг есть. Дима Пушкиным дружу. Со всеми дружу почти. Сашей дружу, с Димой дружу, Пушкиным. Ну, с Сашей дружу, с Симоном дружу. Я с ними дружу, с Симоном, Сашей, с Димой.
Same.
За Рому делайся.
Помогает
Помогать. Я тоже помогала, делала, вспомню. Оля.
Да. Ой. Чай у меня одной.
Тебя мукой съем. Будешь мукем зимой. Вот так.
Не получается у меня уже. У меня одной мотать. Не получается у меня.
Вася, передавай. Помогай.
Мишка, я просто развязки вроде. Счастье, здоровье. Мама хорошая. Да. Слушайся, мама, ладно?
Девушки, передавайте. Будь здоров.
Аня!
And Julia asked Donkey about why it's so sad.
Ночь. Почему ты такая печальная? Ночка, почему ты такая печальная?
Да я, ой, Оксана, я Татьяна, Вика. Мы у Вики на день рождения, мы ее поздравляли. Ой, дальше. Это не то. Это Юля. Себя дома в Москве. Другу. Юля, я, Вика, Аня, Рома. Рома. Больше тут практически нет.
So this is Vasa.
Stop, stop,
It's Christmas. That's all. So another part of my long-term project about Svetlana is a story about love the two old people with Down syndrome. So you know the mini Tatiana. So they met each other in the village and fell in love in 2015. They're more than 50 years old. I saw how this couple developed and how they happy to be with each other. They care and support, spend free time together, worry about feelings and health of each other. And they value every minute with each other. So they wake up and fall asleep together, drink tea, hugs, and so on. And it's great happiness for them. So this story consists of two parts. The first part is my images, and the second part is Tatiana's images, because I taught her to take pictures in Polaroid, and Tatiana took pictures what is around her and what she is interested in. And sometimes Mina also took photos, and I didn't interfere in the process. I didn't control them. And because we here as a team where everyone has their own voice, so I will show you some pictures. This is my ongoing project now. And yeah, love for them is not just something ordinary in life. It's a real event in their life. And when I talk to people about love between the people with Down syndrome, a lot of people told me that these kind of people don't understand what does it mean to love or to be loved. But this is a bullshit, and that's not true. And it's hard to take pictures of them because sometimes when I write in the village, they have a bad mood or they're so tired and they were sleeping a lot because they're old and they spend time a lot in the bedroom. But sometimes they have energy and good reactions and good mood. So I took pictures in 1990 when the coronavirus was started. I continued my project and tried to try to come to village from time to time. This was a performance called The Little Prince, and the media was a king. Yep. So so I've finished my presentation and I would happy to answer some question. Okay. It will become an amazing story. Thank you, Robert. A lot of positive comments. Okay, the usual question about technical stuff. Bingo. For this project, I used Canon 6D Mark II, and there's some pictures I took on Sony, and mostly it was Canon. Okay, a lot of commentary. Did you ever find your camera to special needs would let them take photos? Oh, of course. So this is question: did you ever hand your camera to special needs residents and let them take a photo? Yes, of course. They really loved to take pictures, and over time they asked me, Mary, could you give me a camera and I don't know, take a picture of my friend, another friend, and this friend, and forest and animals. So it was dangerous for me, but I did it. But it was fine. Without any broke. Okay. Beautiful private attention and lovely portraits of an amazing community. Thank you, Paul. Why another question from Anastas. I hope I said it right. Why you think they allowed you in their life? Was there something special, or was just your persistence? So I think they started to believe me and open to me after 5 months, because I worked with them and I helped them, and I didn't like a typical reporter and spend 1 day or 2 days and was gone. So for them, I wasn't just typical photographer, because they saw my interest, my passion, and I don't know how I helped them, and I think it was important why they I don't know, just open up for me and allowed to open the door to take pictures and to live with them. Anush, thank you. And her question is, I wonder, how is your photographic mood right now? What do you feel like working on? When I was working on this project, I had different conditions, and sometimes I felt really good in this village, but sometimes it was strange because I spent a lot of resources, and my mental health, it was not so good because I spent a lot of energy to people, and you have not free time for yourself there, because you always to communicate with people. And maybe because I don't live there like 1 year or 2 years, but when I lived there for 5 days, it was sometimes it was hard because a lot of communication, and you can't be alone sometimes, and that was difficult for me, because sometimes you need to think about the project, about I don't know what I feel, and now it was first in the beginning of the project, and then I could use it, and now I just came to a village and don't expect anything. So if I don't take pictures, no problem. So I will come back and do it again and again. So I think I killed a lot of expectations about something, and it's helped me a lot when I working on try to create a project. A lot of questions. Okay, about my financial situation for this project. That's before the Svetlana, I created another project about domestic violence in Russia, and I won some competitions and grants, and I had some money and from them, and mostly I spent money for traveling and for some gifts, and sometimes I spend some money just like donation to this village, but it's not like a lot of money for this project. That's sometimes I think it's not so important for me. You can find money if you need it. Did you have a concept of what you want to photograph when you went there for the first time? Yeah, this is another important but typical question about the project. So the first time I didn't have any concept about the project. I didn't understand how I should visualize, because I saw a lot of project about people with special needs, and it was like yellow press where a lot of strange faces of people, strange behavior, and I didn't like it because I know another and I saw another. And when I think after 4 months, I found the way for me. And before I just shoot it a lot of different stuff in the village and try to understand what's important for me, what I feel, and so on. And after 4 months, I understood that I lose my I lose my categorization of people, and I didn't see them as special people or something like this. And it helped me to find the way. And I decided to show people not like they're different from us, but something to close us. And that's why I spend a lot of time for every person. And sometimes I returned into the village 4 or 5 times to take picture of the portraits, only one person, because I wanted to show some intimate soul, or I don't know, like some deeply, some inner world. So that's, it was a long way to, and yeah, to find like my concept and understand what can I do different. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you for warm. Did you ask for permission from the people before you took the picture or after? Mostly I had a verbal permission to come to village. And then after some times, I just try to have permission when people signed. And the problem was a lot of people with special experience, they can't write because they don't know what is it. And they don't know language. I mean, they can't write. And it was two-way. The first way, I read the permission for the person with special experience, and I asked him, "Do you understand what is it? Do you understand what is it?" And then he signed. He or she was signed, and then I wrote his name, surname, or she, and so. And then it was one way, and another. Some people was disabled, but I don't like this word. And I called some people who carried them and asked a permission. And it was a difficult situation when I took picture of one woman, and then I called to her mother, and she said me, no, please don't take picture of my daughter. And I tried to explain that I'm not just reporter, I'm spent 1 year in this village, they know me, and but it was not so important for her, because she remembered the situation when some photographer took picture of her daughter, and it was a strange article about crazy people with special needs. So she had a bad experience, and she didn't believe me and didn't try to do it. So mostly I did after, but sometimes, but I had a verbal permission to take pictures from some stuff. Okay, Ellie, is this your only long-term project, or do you have others going at the same time? How will you know when the project is done? Will it never be done? Спасибо большое. Thank you. My answer of this question is that's really hard to understand when you finish your project, but I understand that it's the end of the game when I returned in the community and I repeated some pictures. And if I repeated some pictures all day and over them, so I understood in that time that's what stopped it, because you repeated yourself. Or maybe you should find another way, but mostly that's a signal for me that you should stop and recognize what you did, and then thinking about the final selection, captions, and like the story and so on. Yes, I have the long-term project, and I'm creating now too, but it goes slowly. It's about violence to LGBT community in Russia. Okay, I think it will be the last question. Sorry, I should write it. Yeah, so the question about what it was the process of photography, if I understood right. Yes, some people with Down syndrome, they're so emotional, or some they so quiet, but in my experience it was different. So 50 and 50%. And if I saw that the guy like doesn't feel that he or she wanted to be photographed, so I just, I don't know, play with her or play with him, and you know, it's just some for me it's obviously just intuitive situation, like if you feel that you have connection and now the person, I don't know, open to you, you can try to take picture. But if, I don't know, they just play or laughing, or it's not reportage for you, you need a portrait, and not move portrait or static portrait. So just take your time and wait the moment. For me it was different. So ooh. How long does it take you to? So the old pictures, so I answered the question. So all pictures I showed for everyone in this village, and they saw a lot of publication, and I sometimes when I came to village, I created like photographic evening, and we saw some photos and videos from project about Svetlana, and another I just showed them some pictures from my assignment and tell them stories about the world, what happened, and another experience, and so on. So the old pictures from my project they saw, and they knew it, and they, I don't know, they really grateful. Yeah. So I think we can finish, or Gianna, or what?
Yes, absolutely. Wonderful presentation.
Much question. Sorry. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming today, this beautiful day. I hope you understand that Valentine's Day, it's not only about love between couple, it's about the love, self-love, and the love to some food, of animals, or just nature, and so on. So have a happy and calm and warm evening today for everyone.